Hello everyone. I'm the little known. Can't mess with my hair. And love. 2. Chad Sweeper. In June 1962. In Atlanta Federal Prison, a drug dealer named Joseph Valachi was serving his sentence. At that time, an old man, mid-traveler Big Eye, sat next to Valachi and quickly kissed him. This kiss made Valachi's hair stand on end, and he felt as if his soul had flown out of his body. From that moment on, Valachi never had a peaceful night's sleep. A few days later, Valachi killed another inmate who tried to get close to him with an iron pipe. Valachi's abnormal behavior was actually not that abnormal. The man who kissed him was Vito Genovese, the founder of one of the 5 mafia families and the boss of Valachi's mafia family. Genovese wasn't a homosexual, nor was he showing affection to Valachi. The kiss he gave Valachi was known in mafia tradition as the kiss of death. The kiss of death originated from the famous biblical story of Judas' kiss. Judas betrayed Jesus to the chief priests and agreed with the soldiers on a signal the one he kissed would be Jesus, and they would capture him. Therefore, whenever a mafia boss wanted to eliminate a member of the organization, they would kiss the person's lips or cheeks, using the kiss of death as a warning. This farewell method was considered a terrifying romance. After killing an inmate he thought was an assassin, the paranoid Valachi proactively offered to cooperate with the FBI, becoming the most famous mafia informant in history. Since he had decided to inform, he did it thoroughly. In 1963, during a televised hearing, Valachi not only publicly disclosed his identity as a member of the American Mafia, but also revealed all the mafia-related information he knew, including the basic organizational structure, operational modes, and ways of making money. Valachi even helped the FBI identify 317 mafia members, leading to the imprisonment of many key mafia figures. Valachi's testimony confirmed the existence of the mafia for the first time, and it also made law enforcement and the American public aware of the mafia's true name, Cosa Nostra. This legendary gang that once dominated America's underground industries had evolved into a heinous terrorist organization, manipulating gambling, pornography, drug trafficking, arms smuggling, and engaging in various professional criminal activities such as kidnapping, murder, and robbery. They even infiltrated unions and politics, influencing election results and plotting to assassinate presidents. However, the mafia was not always like this. In its early stages, the mafia's members were all from rural areas, a group of poor farmers who banded together in secret for survival. This story begins in the 1880s. Sicily, Italy, had a unique environment, being constantly ruled by different invaders since the 18th century, from the Romans to the French. Eventually, some lower-class people, fed up with the oppression and turmoil, began to form small groups in secret, gradually developing into small-scale unarmed private armies, known as the Three Beautiful Families. In the 19th century, Sicily saw the rise of numerous landlords due to land privatization, with most of them engaged in agriculture or mining. However, the island had only about 300 police officers, meaning that without violent protection, the highly profitable mining industry could not sustain. These groups seized the opportunity to develop, offering protection for a fee, carrying out paid murders, territorial domination, and gun cooperation. The families became tools for local government policies, as they needed landowners, and the landowners needed the families. This cooperative relationship and paid protection became common between families and landlords. As the situation on this land deteriorated. By the late 19th and early 20th centuries, many Italians, especially Sicilians, began emigrating to America seeking better opportunities due to poor economic and social conditions in Sicily. They braved the Atlantic with dreams of America. Upon arriving in America, most settled in Manhattan's Lower East Side, in New York. The Lower East Side was a poor slum area where Italians, Irish Jews, and Eastern European immigrants gathered. Upon stepping onto this unfamiliar land, these Italians were treated as second-class citizens and severely discriminated against. From initially being bullied and oppressed, they gradually began to collectively resist, naturally forming organized crime. However, these street thugs remained leaderless and scattered until a young man named Paul Kelly appeared. This retired boxer established one of New York's earliest street gangs, the 5 Points Gang. He used his boxing match winnings to open brothels and recruited more young poor people from Manhattan's immigrant community with the money he earned from the prostitution business. It's said that the most dangerous thing is a cultured thug, and Kelly was exactly that. Although a street thug, he was known for his refined culture and elegant demeanor, creating a noble and sophisticated image in stark contrast to the brutality of his peers. Therefore, his 5 Points Gang dominated New York for over 30 years, producing some of the most notorious criminals of the time. Paul Kelly became the first to organize crime in America in a business-like manner, becoming America's first modern mafia boss in a true sense. However, this was merely a prototype of the mafia. It wasn't until the 1920s that the true rise of the mafia began. On the evening of January 16, 1920, American streets were deserted as people gathered in homes or other public places for the last legal farewell parties. A senator remarked at a dinner, "Tonight is the eve of Americans losing their personal freedom, because from midnight on January 17, 1920, the 18th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, the Prohibition Act, officially took effect. According to this law, manufacturing, selling, or transporting beverages with an alcohol content of more than 0.5 became illegal. Drinking alone at home wasn't illegal, but gathering to drink or holding parties was prohibited, with fines of up to 1, 0, and 6 months in jail. In the 1920s, 1, 0 was almost a life ruining amount for the average American. History and economics tell us that banning something makes it the most profitable business. Ordinary alcohol became a significant business opportunity in that era. Alcohol smuggling became rampant nationwide, and the mafia seized this opportunity to make enormous profits by smuggling and selling alcohol, allowing the mafia families to grow wealthy and powerful. While street gangs in America were on the rise, the Italian mafia was also flourishing. But starting in 1920, everything changed because that year, Mussolini's fascists came to power. In May 1923, during a visit to Sicily, Italian Prime Minister Mussolini was disrespected by the mafia, leading an enraged Mussolini to order the extermination of all Sicilian mafia. In a short period, many family members were almost wiped out by the fascist regime, forcing many Sicilian mafiosi to flee across the sea to other lands. Mussolini's unintended assistance led to a massive influx of mafia into America, plunging the American underworld into a decade-long era of warring states. New mafia, old mafia, Irish, and Jews fought over territories and interests. The powerful Sicilian mafia wanted to take over America, with their top figure sending his disciple Salvatore Maranzano to the U.S. to expand. Self-proclaimed Caesar, Maranzano, a philosophical leader, began establishing his crime empire in New York, rising rapidly. After nearly a decade of street battles, in 1930, Maranzano bribed his rival's trusted aide, Charles Lucky Luciano, to eliminate his last opponent, becoming the boss of all bosses in the American underworld, with Luciano promoted to his family's number 2. To ensure the healthy development of the gang, Maranzano convened the first Mafia conference in New York with gang representatives from across America. At the meeting, Cosa Nostra became the official name of the American Mafia. Maranzano declared himself the boss of all bosses, becoming the first true godfather of the American Mafia, reorganizing the entire New York Mafia into the well-known 5 families, and establishing the organizational and behavioral rules of the New York Mafia. Unfortunately, a few months later, Maranzano was shot dead in his office before he could warm his boss seat. He had evidently forgotten that once a complete thug betrays a boss once, he might betray again. The one who killed him was none other than Charles Lucky Luciano, who had helped him eliminate his previous boss. After eliminating all the old bosses, Luciano did not directly take the top position, knowing how dangerous it was to become the true godfather of the Mafia. Instead, he came up with a good idea: the commission, to control the internal activities of the entire American Mafia and replace the old Sicilian Mafia's ruling power. Luciano established a board of directors for the crime families, known as the American Mafia National Commission, or the Board of Directors. The commission members held formal meetings every 5 years, primarily to resolve family wars or internal conflicts. The commission consisted of 7 mafia leaders, with the core members being the bosses of New York's 5 families and the leaders of 2 other crime groups. They collectively made decisions for the American Mafia, supervised family thug activities, and mediated family disputes. However, internal family affairs were not interfered with by other families. For example, if territories overlapped among different families, violence was not allowed, and disputes were settled through the commission. Additionally, the Mafia established a special inspection agency that only accepted orders from the commission, tasked with eliminating members who disobeyed commission orders and harmed the overall interests of the American Mafia. At the 1930 Chicago meeting, the Mafia Commission also established rules prohibiting harm to journalists, informers, politicians, etc., and set behavioral guidelines to avoid public attention and make money discreetly, shaping the Mafia's style. Over the following decades, the American Mafia grew rapidly in wealth and power, infiltrating business, politics, law, and police, amassing wealth through various businesses, such as loan sharking, gambling, extortion, prostitution, and drug trafficking. The Mafia families thrived through illegal businesses, controlling the underground world and establishing a set of operating rules and guidelines. With the establishment of the Mafia Commission, the American Mafia became a highly organized, united criminal organization, reigning supreme in the American underworld for over a century. In the following decades, the American Mafia continued to grow and strengthen, making Cosa Nostra the largest, most complex, and most powerful criminal organization in American history. This was all thanks to its tightly knit family structure and organizational framework, along with its strict management rules. The members of the American Mafia family are divided into official members and unofficial members, with the fundamental difference being their bloodline. Only pure Italians can become official members of the mafia and be considered part of the family. Non-Italian unofficial members are called associates. The highest leader in the family is the godfather, also known as the boss. Below the boss is the underboss, usually a relative appointed by the boss. The underboss only takes orders from the boss and is considered the family's general manager, responsible for the administrative management of all affairs within the family. In reality, aside from their titles, there is not much difference in function between the boss and the underboss. Their status is almost equivalent. The boss' main duty is to oversee, while the underboss leans more towards execution. Between the boss and the underboss, there is also a family advisor. The advisor, personally appointed by the boss, acts as a strategist whose main task is to legalize all specific actions of the family. The relationship between the boss and the advisor is similar to the relationship between Hong Xing's Cheng Tin Yao and Yao Ji in Young and Dangerous. Next are the captains, equivalent to the hall masters in Young and Dangerous. The lowest-ranking family members are called soldiers, who are the ones executing specific tasks. Even to become a soldier in the mafia, one must undergo strict selection and perform a formal initiation ceremony. Newcomers aspiring to become mafia members are required to kill someone as a proof of loyalty before the formal ceremony. After completing this task, they undergo the traditional mafia initiation ceremony. Essential items for the ceremony included agar and a picture of the Virgin Mary. These pictures are usually high-quality replicas of works, like Leonardo da Vinci's Virgin of the Rocks, Raffaelle's Madonna, or Botticelli's Madonna of the Pomegranate. According to the FBI, most of the pictures used in these ceremonies come from Dafan village in Shenzhen, Guangdong province, China, while a replica in the U.S. cost 3 Beijing 240. The imported ones from China cost less than 1/10 of that, with bulk orders offering even lower prices. Thus, the Mafia Commission decided to purchase these paintings in bulk, with annual transactions totaling around 3 million. With all the items ready, the initiation ceremony can begin. The host first cuts the initiate's trigger finger with the dagger, usually the right index finger, or the left index finger, if the initiate is left-handed. Then, they drip the blood onto the picture of the Virgin Mary, place the picture in the initiate's open hands, and ask, "Do you swear, before this saint, to always uphold the rules of the mafia and never betray the family?" The initiate must reply, "I swear." The host then sets the blood-stained picture on fire, saying, as this saint witnesses, "If you betray, you will fall from grace like this picture burns in this world or suffer fire in hell." The initiate then places the burning picture on the floor, bows their head, and clasps their hands in prayer, completing the ceremony. Afterward, the members hold a grand welcome banquet. From this point on, the initiate is a member of the mafia for life. Once in, they must always follow the family's rules. Penalties for breaking the rules range from temporary expulsion to permanent banishment or even death. Mafia rules vary in severity, from minor infractions to major offenses. For example, members are not allowed to lay hands on another member, nor to associate with other members' wives or girlfriends. Mafia members cannot get involved in lawsuits without reason and are prohibited from trading stocks, futures, and bonds in the New York Mafia. Rules also prohibit killing women and children, and the use of bombs or explosive devices. This is different from the Sicilian Mafia, as the main aim is to avoid attracting too much attention to the family organization in America. One of the most famous rules in the Mafia is the Omerta Code of Silence. Every Mafia member must adhere to the principles of refusing to testify and swearing to secrecy. Otherwise, the threat of death will extend to their family. Although making money discreetly is the Mafia's advocated style, killing is still routine for Mafia members. Assassination actions must be approved by the family leader to prevent private acts of revenge from triggering larger disputes. Mafia hitmen also have a strict hierarchy, with their ranks indicated by the metal stars on their chest. The materials of these stars are gold, silver, copper, and iron, with descending levels of importance. The most ordinary hitmen have no stars and only wear clothing marked with the Mafia emblem. It is rumored that there is a rank even higher than the gold star hitmen within the Mafia, known as the elite assassins. Their stars are made of natural crystal, and when they carry out assassinations, they often leave behind a ceremonial black handprint. After executing an assassination, the condition of the body represents different meanings. A bullet through the mouth signifies a snitch. Money on the face indicates the victim was killed for greed or betrayal. And if someone kills a Mafia member, the famous hitman will retaliate by severing the victim's hand and placing it on their chest. If someone has an affair with a Mafia member's wife, they will be killed and have their genitalia cut off and placed in their mouth. In theory, anyone can become a target if the stakes are high enough, for the hatred is deep enough. Even the President of the United States. Next time, we will discuss how the American Mafia manipulates elections and plans assassinations of presidents, along with more revealed internal information about the Mafia. One more important thing: remember to subscribe and follow my channel so you won't miss more interesting videos. I am Saudishing. See you next time.